Hi traders, so welcome to the daily recap show. This is for Friday the 12th of November session. Starting with the FTSE, we said the FTSE broke out into pre-COVID levels and we hadn't seen price action there for 18 months, so we needed to treat the zones with caution. However, we recognise that 73, 79 to 86 and the reaction around that zone could, at the open, could give clues to the day's action. So let's go and have a look at the FTSE and see what it did. So it was another fairly muted session on the FTSE. We had 73, 77 as the high, 73, so 37 point range on the day. So still very, very low volatility, continuing the theme all week, making it very difficult to trade with very few high probability trade setups. And it really was the same again on Friday. We rejected the 73, 79 to 86 area pre-market actually, and we never got back there in the cash session. However, that rejection pre-market sort of set the tone that there may be a bit more of a negative tone on the day. However, overall we're still bullish, so we would have probably, for the high probability setups, we would have been looking for something around this sort of 73, 26 or 33 area, which we never actually saw. So nothing really of great interest on Friday. There was a couple of patterns that I just show you, the sort of patterns that you're looking for in isolation. So we moved through this 73, 56 to 63 area. No real reversal signal here. Then we got the impulsive push through and we held it as resistance on the retests. We then made this signal here. This was probably the only signal that in isolation as a pattern would have been quite good. We'd had earlier the rejection from that 79 to 86, which sort of showed that there could be an underlying negative tone for the day, and it was a retest of this breakout area which had been support pre-market overnight. So that's probably really the only trade that in terms of a pattern which looked good. Obviously we got quite a nice reaction from there. We then came back and put in this false break pattern where we got an impulsive push through that support turned resistance area, and then straight away we got this really nice impulsive push back, which again that's what you're looking for to indicate a false break. And as you can see then on the retest of the zone up here, we actually held that as well. So there was a couple of things to recognize in terms of patterns in the market. Nothing high probability setups, but it's certainly the sort of things that you're looking for in terms of price action when you're looking for your setups. So that was the FTSE. Let's go and have a look at the DAX. So for the DAX, we said that we had printed new all-time highs, and a reaction around 16,070 to 90 could be telling for the morning. We spoke about some lower time frame, lower support zones, and we said that above 16,126 was new all-time highs and uncharted territory. So let's go and have a look at the DAX and how that played out. Okay, so we had this really strong push up pre-market at the open, and then this false break signal here, which sort of suggested a bit of downside. So we got this impulsive push back down here. This is a really good false break signal, just trying to push up above the zone, but completely rejects it, and then we push lower. We did actually see something on the 1 minute, which I'm going to show you in a second here. But as you can see, and again another sort of false break signal where it's an impulsive push down and then just impulsive back through. Now, when you see that again, it's just illustrating that there's no clear direction on the market, and again you can see that throughout the day. There were the high 16,120, the low 16,065. You're talking 55 point range on the day. There's very, very, very low volatility at the moment. This one here is actually not a bad signal. Again, what we're looking for when we're looking for these reversals is we just want to take out some sort of swing high or low. So people who had shorted on this impulsive move down here, maybe on a retest here or in and around here, they would probably have had their stops just above the day's high. Now, what the market often does is it just goes on a liquidity run, takes those stops out, and then reverses. So that's exactly what it's done here. You can see it had the cash high there. It's just taken it out, rejected, and that would have been your opportunity for a short. So again, not necessarily something that I would suggest is high probability in terms of the overall context of the market, but certainly again, a pattern in isolation, the sort of thing that you should be looking for when you're looking for your setups. So I also just want to show you something on the 1 minute chart. Okay, so we've already identified some really classic false break patterns on the markets in this report and in this recap of Friday session, but this one was something that was actually tradable. We spoke about the reaction around this zone as being important to the day's session, and as you can see, we got the push down and then a really nice impulsive candle back above the overnight lows, which suggested that was a false break, and then we pushed on higher. So that there was probably the only trade of the day that I would suggest was a high probability setup. Some really nice patterns in isolation to look for, to show you guys what you should be looking for when you're looking for your setups. But this one here was the only one that tied in with the overall context and the zones that we were looking for. So I hope you found this useful, guys, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Cheers.